Hi, everybody. Russ and my Hammers 11. Hope you are all safe and well. We're out of lockdown, but we're in tears. Not much better, is it, to be honest? If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made aware of any time there's new content. Of course, I'd like to thank our channel sponsors, Untuck It. Today's guest, well, he's back in the. You got a game on Saturday, FA Vars on Saturday, ain't you?
Yeah. If selected, I've been out for a little while injured, so
yeah.
It's getting tougher season by season. Age is not on my side, but yeah, we have got a game. We're
I was about to say it's hashtag Jacko in case you didn't know. So I just mentioned that. Yeah, but it's a sellout. I heard today. It's a sellout. That's mental, isn't it? Good on them.
To be fair, we do it. Yeah, in most places we go, we get. Obviously we've got a great support. A lot of people don't buy into it, don't understand it, aren't sure what we're doing, and pour scorn on it. But listen. It can only be good for non-league football. We're enjoying it. It's great for us as a club and the players that are involved. So we're just riding the quest of a wave, really, and making the most of it while it lasts. Especially from my side, anyway. I'm not getting any younger. I ain't got many years left trawling my arse around the M25. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, in the league as well, at least you're sort of around. It's all in the same area, isn't it? The Essex League in terms of the teams you're playing.
I'm not an Essex boy though. I'm the other side of the M25. I'm from Slough. I live in Windsor, but it's it couldn't be any further around the M25 for me. It's the same with the London Stadium though. That couldn't be any worse. I'm living in hope that Crossrail's finished sometime this lifetime. Because it supposedly I can get on one train and get into Stratford.
That'd be great for you. Yeah, get on at Slough. And straight in, isn't it?
Supposedly 45 to 50 minutes, but it's going to cost about another £15 billion in another 25 years. We're probably have moved rings twice by then. Let's hope.
Probably would have. We're rapping at the moment, but and obviously hashtag are riding high in the league as well, aren't they? I just top the league, doing well.
Yeah. We should. In all honesty, they won't thank me for saying it, but we should get promoted. We've got a good side, better than the level we're at, so we should get promoted this season. We should have been promoted last year. The results from our league were expunged, so the season never existed. So we would have won. We would have won the Essex Senior last year and gone up. Hopefully we're doing a job this year, and then I can finally nail my boots to the wall and give it up and
really
ride off into the sunset.
Ride off into the sunset.
It's getting harder and harder.
I can imagine, but you had your time in the BBC, didn't you? Like in the beginning of the season, that was good as well. It was amazing, wasn't it, that journey?
I mean, the whole thing, from start to finish. I mean, my history, I played in non-league football.
Yeah,
and I kind of paid my dues, and all of a sudden ended up at hashtag playing at Wembley. We played at Old Trafford, the Emirates, Selhurst Park. We've been all over the place, toured America. It's been great. It's been great fun. It's a lot more from where we started in the early days, where it was just a bit of a kickabout with mates being filmed. Now it's a lot more serious, and you've got to put a lot more in. And I can't commit as much for much longer as I do. Obviously, the mileage I put in. So those days are slowly ending. I've been doing Soccer AM for a couple of years now as well, and that's kind of I can't do everything. It's too much. So. And I'm a season ticket holder as well.
That's what I mean. And more importantly than that, season ticket holder, Jacko, and that's the main thing.
Yeah. So which to be honest with you, I've quite enjoyed. I never got the chance to have one when I was at Upton Park. I went a lot when I was a young lad in my 14s, 15s. I used to stand in the North Bank. I used to go week in, week out for a couple of seasons. But I never had a season ticket up until we moved to the London Stadium. So the jury's still out for me. I still don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Look, there's days where I absolutely loathe it, and days where I think, you know what, this could work. I was full of optimism when we moved, but I don't know. I still don't know. I
think if the team perform well, then the stadium's the last thing people talk about, and that's the thing. They haven't performed well. Now obviously, we've got Moise Sire.
Someone said to me early days. Someone said to me about Arsenal when they moved that you've got to kind of create memories again and create history, and that it's very true. When we moved in there, because we had no attachment and no history, and we all still missed Upton Park. We have to kind of create those memories. We have to be a little bit patient. Don't get me wrong, the football was crap when we first started, and it didn't help. It put everyone on the back foot. We all know about the promises and the lies, and listen, now all of a sudden we're turning a corner. We're winning games that we'd normally get beaten, albeit after the other night's game against Villa, it wasn't pretty. But they were games we'd have lost without a doubt.
Easily.
So fingers crossed we're turning the corner.
Yeah.
No one expected us to be fifth this period in the season, especially with the run of games in early doors. So
exactly, it's mental, isn't it? It could be third. Could be third if we beat United.
Yeah, well, I'm going to listen. After Villa equalised, after Grealish equalised, and we were on the back foot the other night. There's no one could win that game. So, dare to dream, I suppose.
You got a dream. I mean, I remember do you remember there was it was a big period for about 3 or 4 years where, it was like, if we win, we get to 7th. Get to 7th, and we always choked. So, as you said, it's winning unpretty, something that West Ham isn't good at. We lose, and we play badly, and get trounced, or we play really well and still lose. And the luck seems to be on our side a little bit. You make your own luck, I think, in this game, as you must know. And
before the other night, there's been some great performances. I mean, all of a sudden they're playing some really good stuff. We look good going forward. We look relatively solid at the back. I'm not convinced on Balbuena, but I think if you're winning, then you've got to stick with it.
Sure.
And we haven't got a massive amount of personnel at the back. Let's be frank. I mean, if something happened to either them, Oggy or Diop, then we're in banging trouble. So,
yeah,
the future looks reasonably bright. Ben Rama are coming first 45 the other night. You fancy him to hopefully push on. It's going to be a big learning curve. It's a big difference from the Championship.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm more excited now than I was after Newcastle. That's for sure.
Definitely.
Fearing the worst.
Yeah, no, and it is. I think you're right. And to be fair to Moisey, it took some balls to do what he did on second at half time, flicking it back after winning all those games and grinding. Yeah. I mean, even Tottenham, we didn't even change the team in 80 minutes gone before he made any subs. But yeah, it was ballsy and it worked. And I like it. In fact, he did it.
That's to be honest, that's been one of his biggest criticisms and one of the biggest issues is his substitutions are quite often 3 minutes to go and not changing the game. And I think, to be honest, he looked as frustrated as we all felt watching the game the other night, because it was we scored and then just sat back and then gradually fell apart. And reading on all the comments on Twitter at half time, it was the move that everybody thought he needed to make. Don't get me wrong. We didn't exactly improve. I know we scored straight away through Ben Palmer and obviously Jared Bowen, but we didn't really improve. But at least he rolled the dice, which is what you should be doing at home in a game like that. Yeah. Have a go. And he's changed my opinion. He's changed. I was very underwhelmed, as I'm sure a few people were, when he was appointed.
Yeah.
But what do you do? He's a stabiliser, really, isn't he? He comes in. He gets them well organised. I like their passion as well.
I know you mean. Yeah.
After Pellegrini, who was a little bit limp, shall we say, to see the fact that the backroom staff are getting booked.
You know what? And because I was there, this is what happened. A bit of an exclusive, right? It was proper kicking off, and obviously, because all the journos can hear it as well. And I was talking to a few of them at half time, and they'd say, "Oh yeah, did you hear what he said? He called him a effing prick and stuff like." Yeah, I know he did, but apparently JT offered out our new sports psychology. That David Billows, he looks a bit like a young version. Yeah, the one he got booked. He was just standing still. Yep, I'm getting booked. He offered him out at half time. He said, "Do you want to have a fight in the tunnel?" And yeah, any day, mate, any day. I was like, fair play, but I like it. We're not a pushover anymore now. Do you know what I mean?
And you could see from the footage on TV, Nolan was fuming.
Yeah.
Obviously, Moyes had to be a bit of a devil's advocate.
Yeah.
He's the one that all the cameras are focused on.
Yeah.
See, and that's what they've got. They've got. You can see it at the end of a game now. They've got a real togetherness.
Yeah.
And I kind of allude to that in my 11 later. And that's what I can't argue with that. I was brought up with dross, West Ham being absolute dross week in, week out. And all we want is that you want a team that grafts, that cares, that wants to put on the shirt. No mercenaries, no fly-by-nights, no pop in and see you later and nick a couple of million.
Yeah,
sure, it's the same with most clubs. All supporters want to see is people trying, and at the moment they've got that. They've got a bit of God about them. a fight, a bit of belief, and the points kind of come with that.
Yeah, it's true. It's, as you said, I think you make your own luck, and you know, yeah, we've been lucky, but I just think we're in a position where we do, you know, when you're playing well, the luck does go your way, you know, because you're and so I just think what I like to say, and I've mentioned it a few times before on videos, where, you know, when like players come into a club and the first thing they say is, oh, why did you come? Why did you come to, you know, Liverpool? Oh, because of the manager. He's got a project, and I want to be part of this project. And it's like, no, not the 200 grand or whatever you're on, but he said, I want to be a project. And then this is the first time I can see for a long time that there's a game plan and a project, and you can see things being built. You know, he's bringing in hard-working players, not the Pellegrini fancy Dan. You know, it didn't really work with Pellegrini, I don't think.
The team we are now, it kind of shows up those players. So there's no two ways about it. A few of them I'd love to have done well. Felipe Anderson, I prayed he would be the flamboyant Brazilian we all crave. But the fact of the matter is, we can't afford to have 10 players that work their nuts off and an Anderson in the side. You can't afford to have it. We're West Ham. We're not Arsenal. We're not Chelsea. We can't have those players, and they stick out. Fornals, it drives me absolutely mental every week. But he's got a great work ethic, and I can see why people plays him, because he covers so much ground. And for them 2 or 3 passes every week that he loses, he will cover ground and make it up. And in that shape, it works. So you can live with it. Similarly, obviously, Allaire sticks out a bit because he's a bit of a plodder. I fancy him if he had half of Mikey Antonio's chances, I fancy him to score 9 out of 10, where Antonio would score 6 out of 10. He's a strong, but in the system we're playing, it fits Mikey well because he works his nuts off. Whereas Allaire kind of bit of the Berbatovs about him, and there he likes to stroll.
Good shout, good shout. It's a good shout. And he came alive a bit, I think, when they went to sort of Brahma and Bowen sort of up with him, you know. There is a player there. There is a player there, isn't it?
I don't doubt it. You don't. He's got a good rep. It was a lot of money when he first come to us. Them first couple of games, he banged to Watford, didn't he, away? He looked a player, and you look at him and go, "Fuck me, we could be all right here. This could be us." And then he slowly drifted off. I don't doubt it takes a while to adapt to the English game, but he's a unit of a geezer. If you set up your team to play to his strengths, slinging the ball in the box, he'll score goals.
Definitely.
But as I say, the way we're set now, we're a team of grafters. We're a strong workhorse, workman-like team, and I'm not sure you can carry them players that don't.
No, you can't. No, you can't. But as I said, it's going in the right direction, which is the first time for a long time that it's gone in the right direction. And as a West Ham fan, people got to enjoy it rather than wait for the fall. Because you know it's coming. We know we're going to lose 3-0 to Burnley, or Sheffield United will turn us over but we know that's coming. So
that happens to all teams now in the Premier League. I mean, you've got to
good point.
I went round my mum and dad's on Tuesday it was, and we were kind of dissecting things, and we were sat around the table and we actually had to take stock because we were moaning about Villa, us beating Villa on a Monday night 2-1 and going 5th. And we were sat around the table still picking it apart, moaning. I said, we've got to have a look at ourselves. We've come a long way from where we was a season ago.
So true.
Listen, if we're moaning about beating Villa and going 2-1 and going 5th, then I'll take it all day long.
Yeah, I'll take that too, man. Don't worry, I'm back in. God, what happened there? God, what happened there? Jeez. Hornchurch must have had a power cut. Right. Anyway, didn't pay the meter. That was it. Anyway, the first question I was going to ask, 14 minutes in, Jacko, was why aren't you? You spoke about going around your dad's and talking about West Ham and stuff. Why are you a West Ham fan, man? What's your story?
It's down to my old man, and I've never let him live it down, to be honest with you. My two choices really. My granddad was staunch Watford, which don't get me wrong, he did get me the shirt, and I was paraded about in it when I was 5 years old. So I can never get away from that. That photo's out there, I'm afraid. But my first game was Liverpool at home, '86. It was one of the first games of the season. The 86-87 season. So the season after the glory. Well, that's it. That's why I'm a beaten man. I should be 6'8". I lost about 8 inches going to Upton Park. I remember it vividly. What I was sucked into was, and I've been to, even in my younger days, I've been to a lot of football grounds. With Upton Park, it was the closeness to the pitch. I remember it vividly. Like funny enough, my first game I sat in the West Lower. Would have been right underneath where you used to spin your records, wasn't it? Isn't that? That corner. There used to be like a little police box, I think, in that corner. We used to
yes. That's where we used to be. And then I proper started when we went. I was a little bit about 15 years later when we went up into the Rio stand when they moved everything up. But yes, I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it used to be like a little police. I'm sure it was a police box. They used to just keep an eye on the South Banks. We were beneath that. The usual, the old man, about 5 of his mates, about 4 kids, piled in the back of a transit on a Saturday, drove through London to the game. We used to get kicked out outside the bowling, pack of crisps and a can of Coke for 3 hours before we actually went to the game, bored out of our brains. But yeah, I remember vividly being so close to the pitch, the noise was unreal. And we got beat 5-2 that day, and it was a proper Liverpool team back then as well. I remember Ian Rush back a couple. I think John Aldridge might be as well. And but yeah, I was sucked in. A few weeks later, I did go with my granddad to the away game at Vicarage Road as well when we drew 2-2. And similarly, we weren't great that day either. But they had Barnes and Blissett. But I just remember Watford was great, a great atmosphere, but I remember going to Upton Park and being you kind of used to get sucked into it. It was so loud, so leery. When we weren't in the West Stand, we used to stand in the South Bank, and the old man used to push me and the other kids to the front, right behind the goal, and you just sucked into the atmosphere. It was electric, especially as a kid. Midweek games. I remember going to midweek games, and it was a magic place for me as a kid. It was a magic place, Upton Park. I remember. The excitement of going to the shitty old club shop that was looking back, I mean, it was horrendous.
We could never do social distancing in there, I tell you, man.
No, and it was all tat as well, absolute tat. I remember like, man.
And it was in like this glass, if I remember, it was like a glass thing. You had all the shirts behind you, which you could never buy one because you couldn't get to the front, and you had this glass thing with all like the crappy stickers and cufflinks. Oh, can I have a look at that sticker? Yeah, it's 50p. No, you're all right, mate. Thank you. It's like fucking ridiculous, wasn't it?
It was horrible. But same thing just used to excite me is to go in there, grab any crap I could, key rings, stickers, photos of whatever player wasn't being chosen at that time because all the rest would be sold out.
Yep.
Random pictures of Paul Rush or whatever. And the whole thing that the same thing we all got sucked into as kids, really. Yeah. The whole football vibe, and then yourself. Once West Ham's got his claws into you, that's it. There's no other way to go. And it's been a poisoned chalice ever since.
Yeah, it's like when those when those Chinese finger things that you put your finger in, and the more you struggle, the tighter it gets. It's just like someone's going to use it as a meme now. I don't know why I've just done that, but but it's true, isn't it? It's just like it just pulls you in, and it's just like without realizing, it just gets into your life, your clothes, and you blink, and it's like 30 years on. You're like, where the hell did that go? It's like the other day, someone put on Facebook this game. It was like West Ham v Oxford. It was like I didn't start till about 92 the season. I started going, and it was my first game. That was like 28 years ago, like last Saturday. And I was like, where did that time go? You know what I mean? It's like, God.
We was there that day. I went to that game, absolutely pissing down. Pissing
it down?
Was it 5-2?
5-3, 11. I think there's about 11,000 there. So that's why we got a ticket. And Oxford United scored after about 30 seconds. And remember my granddad, God rest his soul, turned to me and went, "Get used to this. You've got a lifetime of this." And I was like, "Oh, then
downhill from here, boy."
Yeah, exactly. All downhill. We sat in the east stand. You know, we had a seat and everything. But yeah, it was But it's memories, isn't it? It's just all memories. It's not the football, it's the memories.
Listen, I've done the same with my boy. I've been dragging him along. He loves it now. He's a season ticket holder with me, and he's turning 18 next year. And he kind of had the real high of like the Pirates season when we left Upton Park. And I said to him, well, "You better cherish this because it don't get much better." And it was a good season by anyone other's standard. It was probably a mediocre season, but to us, so many kind of things fell into place that it felt like we were going in the right direction.
It did, didn't it? Yeah.
Albeit for a few rosy months, and then it all come crashing down again. But that's West Ham. But yeah, I mean, going back to being a kid, like I was obviously, I said I live quite a way away, but I used to, even midweek games, when I was 13, 14, I had a group of lads that I used to stand in the North Bank. I only met them through going to West Ham week in, week out, because I had no mates the same age that were A, going to West Ham every week, or B, allowed to travel. So I was lucky enough that my parents trusted me, and I was a Neanderthal at 13. I was 6'3", so they used to let me just travel to the games. I mean, I used to get, I remember Lee Chapman scoring, I think, in the 119th minute from a Dale Gordon cross against Notts County in the League Cup. And I think I had school the next day. I got back to Slough Station about 1:45 in the morning. I had school the next morning. But it sucked me in, and I loved everything about it and everything about the club. I loved the social. I loved being part of it. And I was scared as a kid. I remember, especially through my teens, I was scared to miss a game, because not that you ever influenced anything, but there was nothing like being there on a Saturday afternoon watching West Ham at Upton Park, especially. So, yeah, it's ingrained in you. I think once you're sucked in, you're finished.
Yeah, it's true.
It's all pain. It's all pain and tears.
It is, and I think that's why we enjoy it. That's why it's important to. I think it's good character building for young kids and stuff who become fans, because it shows you can't get everything in life. But when you get something when you get something good, hold on to it.
There's a lot easier rides out there than West Ham, that's for sure.
There is.
There's a lot easier paths to choose.
Yeah, God, how many kids are like, now like, oh, why can't I just support Liverpool or something like that? I think I went through that stage. I think there was a stage where I was like, oh, do you know what? Not I could ever change, but it's like all my mates Liverpool fans. It's like,
I think it's a generation thing as well, and it depends what type of person you are. Like, I've got loads of mates over this way. Obviously, Slough being quite a Chelsea area, there's loads of Tottenham over here, QPR. It's funny because there was a generation of QPR supporters, because obviously in the 90s they were a top level team and doing really well, but it's funny how these things die off completely.
Cyclical, isn't it? Yeah,
you don't get no QPR. I don't know of any new QPR fans around this way. People bringing their kids anymore, because it's not a fashionable thing, I suppose. But it's a shame to see clubs like that unsupported. The old second team, as people refer to us as. I've got a feeling we're going to get that mantle back again soon. I just got that feeling. I don't want it. I don't want to be anybody else's second team.
Nah, you're right. I know what you mean. But it's it's a way of life, isn't it? We're in a West Ham fan. I think we're a very unique bunch of fans, and and it's not about the football. It's about the community, and it's great that that on Saturday 2000 they're going to be back. Brilliant, but
as well. I mean, I don't think we ever get the plaudits we deserve as well. We travel really well.
Yes,
I know people seem to have this. Other fans have this misconception about us, but we're very well supported by some proper diehards who really care about this club, and people seem to think it's us spitting our dummies out a lot of the time, but they don't understand the plight that we've been through, the things that we anticipated and expected, and it's a massive thing, losing your hope that we all were part of. It's a part of our life, a part of our fabric. It's a massive thing to lose that, and when you're expecting on one end to have to deal with the bereavement of it, but we're going to get this. And when this doesn't materialise, then I think we've been given a really, really bad rep for no apparent reason. We're a well supported team and good true supporters that want the best for this club.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. And doing this channel, you meet loads of them all over the world, and it's opened my eyes to just how big our fan base is. You know what I mean? Because I mean, maybe I was a little bit naive to it because I just sit in my box really, and I can't. It's soundproof. You can't really see if I call, but when it's like you're chatting to guys in Hong Kong and India and Australia and all the way across the states, all over the place. It's a massive club, and it's like I can understand when people are like, from like Church or Essex or like, they support West Ham, but you go to some places and guys in like Fresno, California. Why the fuck do you pick that? It's like, because I was like watching it and they look quite cool.
Yeah,
really. Fucking hell, man! Your definition of what cool is needs to be referred to. But yeah, no, it's because I can see a lot of that. Philadelphia, we've got a lot of fans in Philly and New York because it's like a blue collar club, as they would say, and it's like working man club, and yeah, I get it.
And I touched on before, really, like with our support, with our fan base, people go on and kind of rip the piss about the West Ham way, but yeah. I get what people are saying. There is no West Ham way, but there is a West Ham way. It's not always about the football. It's about giving a shit. It's about turning out, putting a shirt on, and giving a shit for West Ham, about West Ham.
Definitely.
And that's more the West Ham way. People going about there is no West Ham. There is a West Ham way. Turn up and care. Turn up and want to play for us, and we'll give back to you. We'll support you. If we see you're shrugging your shoulders for 90 minutes. You're not gonna get any.
No. Yeah, and that's right.
We'd love to have a good football inside, but that comes second to going out there and giving 100% if
the grafting. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's the thing. It's not, if you're trying, if you're having a go. Ian Dowie, for example, wasn't never gifted. Never going to be, top goals, but he would run all day, run into that corner, and we'd appreciate the effort. Not his fault if it's not technical enough, but it doesn't matter. He had a go.
But that's at the end of the day, that's our limits. No respect to Ian Dowie, but we've had hundreds of Ian Dowies over the years that supporters have got behind. We've had plenty of them. You talk about centre forwards, the likes of Mike Small. Was nowhere near a technical striker, but worked, tried.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of them, plenty of players like that were not multi-million pound players, but they wanted to play, and especially I felt it more in the early days. Well, my early days of watching West Ham. It's about getting a side that want to be there and want to play together. The more you go into the money aspect, that's when you get the technical players that, at the end of the day, are out of our league that we can't afford, and it'll be a few years and a new regime before we can afford it.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Anyway, let's go on and talk about your 11. So obviously, everyone we have on the channel, they have to give their Hammers 11. Apart from 3 people haven't given their Hammers 11. Apart from that, and one of them had a good reason. The other 2 didn't. But it doesn't matter. And because one of them was Ian Bishop, so I just let him do it because I love Bish, but it was fair enough. And so the only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play. The reason I put that in is so not everyone picks, the same team. Because everyone would be. If you said what's your greatest team, or whatever, but you can pick whatever criteria you want, Jacko. It doesn't really matter. The only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play. That's it. That is the only rule. Simple.
I was unsure about a go, and I've kind of gone on the route that I've talked about. Really, it's not just players that have been outstanding and flair play. It was more players that I have always felt are very reliable as West Ham men,
grafters.
Not necessarily the best in that position I've ever seen, but players that when I saw their names on the team sheet, you never had a Oh God,
Didn't have to worry about them. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So first and foremost, in my personal opinion, in my lifetime watching West Ham would be Ludo.
Yeah.
Probably underrated, probably massively underrated.
I think so. Yeah.
He was superb for us, and I don't know if he'd have had as good a time or played as well at any other club. It was a perfect fit, really. Income career. I'm sure I was on the North Bank the day that soppy song was invented, because I remember one lad singing "My name is Miklosko, I come from near Moscow." I remember it vividly in the late 90s, and everyone kind of poured scorn on him. And here we are, 25 years later, and it's gone down in folklore as
still going, in it. Still goes to the away games, isn't it?
Ludo's official song, which is ridiculous. Back in the day, obviously, it was just the monotonous Ludo.
Yeah.
Ludo. But yeah, Ludo was superb for us. The games that stick in my mind are the Man United games where he kind of single-handedly crippled their league seasons, which was always a pleasure. But yeah, great for the club. And as I say, he just fitted the West Ham mould. He seemed to want to be at the club, and obviously we wanted him because he was a great servant for us.
Yeah. He's just a fantastic and a lovely bloke off the pitch as well.
Yeah, I've never had the pleasure.
We'll get him on eventually. He's always like really shy of the fact that his English isn't good, but it is very good. But I think he's just
We've been here forever, haven't he?
Well, I think so. I think but it's like, and his kids used to go Chigwell and stuff, and we used to play against him. But yeah, no, he's a nice bloke, lovely bloke, and he used to. I swear, he once introduced himself to me. I think when I was very, very young, and someone asked, and he shook, and it wasn't me, but the guy next to him. He shook his hand. He says, "I'm Ludo. I don't come from near Moscow." That's what he said to him. It's like fair enough,
Even but I hope that carries on that story.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I mean, when we had Tony Gale, when we talked about it, he went, "Yeah, but he wouldn't have the same ring." I'm Ludek Miklosko, come from near Prague.
I remember it vividly, the lads singing it, and we all said, "Oh, in Moscow," but it works.
It works. It rhymes. Yeah, it doesn't matter when it's in the song. Right? Okay, we'll put Ludo in. Who's next then, Jacko?
Steve Potts.
Oh,
so one of probably in my lifetime one of the greatest servants to the club. Underrated, understated. Was a stalwart week in, week out, but would nearly never get a mention because he just done his job. He went about his business, and he was superb. Never obviously the tallest. I don't know how tall he was. He looked tiny on the pitch.
5'7", I think. 5'7" he was. Yeah,
little fella. But
taller than me, but don't matter.
Yeah.
So we can't all be over 6 foot.
It's easy. But, just a great one of them players that so dependable.
Yeah.
And a massive club man that you get rarely nowadays. So yeah, one that I think people will probably overlook for numerous others. But yeah, Steve Potts for me was immense week in, week out. And one of them you never had to mention him because you knew he'd do a job. Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
always a 7.
Yeah, well that's it. Yeah, if not more, and totally understated and underrated. But yeah, a proper legend for me, Steve Potts.
Definitely. We did a show about him the other day, a couple of weeks ago, and we had some of his old schoolmates send him through some pics from when he was at school from Dagenham, and it was just hilarious because he was like one of the tallest.
Oh really?
He obviously like got there and just stopped, bless him. But yeah, went backwards. And obviously he's part of the coaching staff, under 23s. Perfect. It's great to have those sort of old, experienced West Ham pros in the setup now. And I think there's one. I think when we had Zav on, he said every year group there's a West Ham pro in there now, next pro, which is perfect. Exactly what we want.
Yeah, and it kind of comes back to what I'm saying about these players is that they've stuck around the club. A lot of them are coming on to that. The likes of Ludo and Potsy have stuck with the club, and the club have kind of recognised them as the true West Ham servants that they were, which is good.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't happen enough.
No, I definitely agree. Right, so Potsy's in. Who's next, man?
James Collins.
Oh, I'm liking this team already. Right.
Yeah,
Chelsea.
I mean, there's been plenty come and gone centre halves, but
Yeah.
the fact that he went away, come back, the level we got out of him. It just seemed a good fit for West Ham and for Ginge. It just seemed to work. Scored some cracking goals for us. At the tail end of his career was probably some of his best performances in a West Ham shirt.
Definitely.
And it was nice. It was fitting some of the tributes that were paid to him. Like I think it was at Selhurst Park, wasn't it, where they cheered him off the pitch. He was one of the last off the pitch ones, Ginger Pele, and the rapport he had with the supporters. He'll go down, and definitely for me as again one of the West Ham greats. It'd probably be overlooked by a lot of others that we've had that are higher profile, but just superb. Again, week in, week out, you knew what you get 100% every week, throwing his body in there and gave a shit. And that's what you want. You want someone who gives a shit. And he'd be up there for me, without a doubt, Ginge.
And as a goalie, that's what you want as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
The guy in front of you.
Yeah. He's just a true defender. Just go and defend it. Head it, kick it. Don't do anything that you can't do. Although, to be fair, he scored some bangers for us. Ginge. He must have a little bit in the locker, but
I think they all do. Do you know what I mean? They have it in the locker and they just put it out like once a season and just go, anyway, back to it. Back to kicking dumps.
We've had a few that have scored some. I mean, Anton Ferdinand.
Yeah, I'd say Anton for the Fulham game,
Winston Reid banged a couple of
he did,
as well. So we've had a few centre halves that can do it, but just defend. And that's why Ginge sticks out to me, because he was a true old school out defender.
Yeah.
Another one, which is quite a old school out and out defender, Ray Stewart for me.
Nice. Yeah.
I remember as a kid watching. He was obviously in the team in the 80s. Tonka, wasn't it? I believe his nickname. The penalties were just a different level. And again, someone that just kind of never got the plaudits I thought he deserved. Maybe it was because I was a young lad and didn't realise he was Scottish, because I always wondered why he'd never played for England. I always thought he was good enough. It makes sense for the name of Ray Stewart. But he was always quality. I always seemed to be in amongst things. Things were always happening. And he sticks out for me, Ray Stewart. Again, they're all of a similar mould, these players. Like I say, they're all they're
solid, aren't they? They're all solid, aren't they? Solid.
Most people's West Ham teams, but for me, it's more about players that I always felt wanted to play for the club, wanted to play for the shirt, and gave everything they had week in, week out, and might not have been the best, but always wanted to play.
Yeah.
So alongside him, another penalty taker, obviously Julian Dicks. Out a one of a kind, a complete one-off. He kind of dragged us along for a couple of seasons when we were hopeless, really.
Yeah.
I know he went off and had his little jaunt with Liverpool.
Yeah.
His hiatus. I hope he got well paid for. But I mean, I think that kind of proved. I know he'd done all right there, but it kind of proved that we was a club for him. He was the player for us.
Yeah, it's worked.
And I remember in some of the dark days when we really were bad, that he was pretty much the only shining light.
True.
And fuck me, he was a left back.
I know, it's mental, isn't it? How he could galvanise a team from left back. Not a very glamorous position. Not just a team, a crowd. He could go.
You need sometimes with a club like us, you need a catalyst. You need someone to go and do something and put something in and tread on John Spencer's head. But you need something to happen.
Yeah.
And that was Julian Dicks all over. Out of nothing, out of nowhere, you'd be toddling along 0-0 and he'd go and put someone in a chicken run and it'd be the catalyst for us to kick on. Yeah. And probably out of the back four I've named, probably one of the more decorated West Ham greats. But I don't think I'd struggle to leave Julian Dicks out personally.
No. And you said about the penalties and him and Tonka. I mean, that's something of the modern game now that no one just twats it anymore, does they? I mean, as a goalkeeper, even more so. They tend to place them now, dink them or do a lookman, and
without going off piece. I mean, that's a rule they have to change. The run up rule, because I think it was in the 90s. John Aldridge, I think, started it. Used to run up to the ball, stop, and go again, and they outlawed it. But now some of these run-ups, they should be limited to 4 steps, 4 strides, X amount of seconds. Fucking embarrassing what they're trying to do now. Stop, wait for the goalkeeper to go.
Well, because I mean, they're stopping the goalkeeper like getting off the line, but then they seem to not like fucking Fernandez. Bruno Fernandez. His penalty run-ups are ridiculous. He literally is slowing down to a point where he's almost still, but he's.
It should be one continuous movement throughout. They shouldn't. It's an advantage. A penalty is an advantage anyway. A player shouldn't miss a penalty. A player shouldn't miss a penalty. That's it. But now they're kind of putting all the onus on the goalkeeper now to you can't move, you can't come off your line, you can't do this. They're looking for encroachment. Yet the striker, whoever's taking the penalty, can take 18 steps in a run up. Jig left, jig right, do a spin. It just doesn't make sense. Just walk up to the ball and take the penalty. And it's I mean, we've been the beneficiaries of it, so I'm not going to knock it. But I mean, trying to dink a penalty in the last minute, the Fulham game the other week, brave or stupid. But as I say, we've been the beneficiaries of 2 missed penalties in the last couple of games, so I'm not going to.
Oh, he's done all right, yeah. It's that same goal as well. I think it's cursed. I'm enjoying that, but it's all good. Yeah,
with no little strokes in my way, I don't mind.
If he gets on the pitch.
Right,
go on. Let's crack on. Go on, Jacko. Who's next, man? Moving to midfield now.
Again, Saints. We're looking at very similar moulds here. George Parris.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Again, in that team in the 80s that I grew up watching, he was a bit of an idol, really, George Parris. Yep. If I ever didn't have 2 left feet and could have played on pitch, I'd like to have been a George Parris. Covered loads of ground, sliding tackles, didn't chip in with many goals because he didn't get into the nosebleeds really. But he was a proper engine for West Ham in that glory season, 85-86. He kind of used to do a lot of the dirty work while Alan Devonshire and co used to make all of it look pretty. Georgie Parris, great player for me.
Yeah, solid, isn't
he? And it's just one of those that you just look at and just go, again, you look at him on the team sheet and you go, you'd have him all day long. Even now, you just go,
Don't matter what position. What position doesn't matter.
Obviously, I don't think George mind me saying he didn't have as much flair, but it's similar to a kind of Scott Parker who
I'll get that.
Just covers so much ground. Who I've left out, by the way. I'm the nod. I've left Scott Parker out because that was a tough one. But George Parris, very similar player. Throwing everything in there, winning balls back, and letting the others take the glory. One of which is in the team that benefit from it. Mark Ward.
Oh, Wardy.
Probably for me as a kid, watching West Ham, probably the most exciting player. I used to love Cottee and McAvenny up front, but I remember as a kid watching West Ham a few times under lights midweek, and when he used to get the ball, there used to be the crowd used to lift up. He was superb. I can't really remember if he had pace or not, but it felt like he did. It felt like just almost electric when he got on the ball. I always felt like something was going to happen, and I know we were beneficiary of having the 2 really good centre forwards in
it helps.
DC and Frankie Mack. But every time he got the ball, he used to watch the chicken run kind of rise up, and people used to stand up, and the crowd used to swell, and the roar used to go up. And he was probably, for me in that generation or that my age growing up, the most exciting player I remember in a West Ham shirt, because I always felt like something was going to happen when he got the ball. Yeah, and
he's like a terrier, wasn't he? Like a little terrier. That's what Mac called him. I think he called him his little terrier when we interviewed him.
I remember. Obviously, I was a kid then. I don't remember. I remember him being little, But as I say, I can't remember if he had pace or not. But it felt like it
Sure.
felt like he was electric when he got the ball. It was like, go on.
Yeah. Do something, yeah.
As a kid, I used to be so excited watching him play, Mark Ward. So yeah, he'd be in there all day for me. There's a few I've had to leave out, as I say. So midfielder-wise, I think we've been blessed over the years.
Yeah.
When I'm writing down names, so as I say, I left out Scotty Parker, Trevor Sinclair. I ended up putting in Kevin Nolan.
Oh,
now, when he first come to the club, I was never sure of it. I kind of thought it was a backward step.
Yeah.
But when I look back now at what he did for the club, he was superb. He again, one of those kind of in the darker days that dragged us along, and I don't think I ever really, until now, appreciated what he'd done for us as a club. And I think that kind of shows now that he's part of the backroom staff and really gives a shit even now. And was a great club captain for quite a few years for us.
He was,
through some turbulent times. But he scored goal after goal for us at crucial times. Yeah, a lot of players that played in that team with him over the years will say how big a player he was for the club and how good he was for the club, bringing everyone together. So yeah, I think I probably didn't give him the credit he was due when he was actually a West Ham player. And looking back now, I kind of realised, stepping back from it, how pivotal a part he played.
Definitely.
In getting us back to the top level, really, and stabilising us in the club, as did obviously Sam Allardyce.
I mean, he was like one of those players, sort of a Robbie Savage type player, who's a bastard, but he's all right if he's your bastard. And he was annoying. I remember when he used to come back, when he come play for Bolton and Newcastle, he was annoying, Kevin, though. I used to hate him, but as soon as he put a claret and blue shirt on, we all fucking loved him. And I
just didn't think. I didn't think when we brought him in. I think he was one of Allardyce's first signings. I didn't think he was like the right player for West Ham, really. As has been quite. We talked about Ian Dowie. We're not going to sign the top Ecky on a player. It's not going to happen.
No.
It hasn't happened for years. It's not going to happen overnight now. And you want the big signings and the big brand names. And when he came in, I remember being really deflated, thinking, it's just a sideways move. It's just another run-of-the-mill, bog standard, bit of a grafter. The goals, but what he actually did for us as a club was massive, and I tip my hat to him, and I hold my hands up to that one. I never gave him the credit that was due when he played for us. I think he was a big player for us, alongside our current club captain, who again I can't leave out. We inundated with midfielders, but Nobes you can't overlook Nobes. Another one probably that personally I thought would kind of possibly drop down when we've come back up a couple of times. I didn't think he was good enough to cut it consistently at the top level. He'd be in there probably now at my top three greatest West Ham players that I've had the pleasure of watching.
Sure.
Obviously, it's a big thing. He's a West Ham boy. It's been mentioned 1,000,001 times. But I think it runs a bit deeper than that with him. I think you could say you're a West Ham boy and your family can be West Ham supporters, but it's more than that. He's seen things through our eyes more than once, and
definitely
finding out about it as much as he can. Obviously, he's an employee. He knows when we're shit, and he's not afraid to say it. And he knows when we're upset, when we've got good reason to be upset. But his performances. I mean, I think he's punched above his weight, Mark Noble.
Oh, definitely.
And I'm not sure we would have been able to turn out the performances he has had for us consistently for the last year after year. I don't think he would have done it or been able to do it at any other club because of the
feeling. I don't think he'd be given the time, to be honest, because he's sort of. I liken him to Doctor Who, the way he sort of regenerates himself into a different player every couple of years. It seemed.
And I think it's still be great for us this year. I think he's still got
his role's great.
play for us this year. It won't be the part that he wants to have.
No.
Great touch by Declan Rice the other night as well, putting the armband on him. He didn't need to do that, really.
No,
With 3
didn't need to do
minutes to go,
that.
he didn't need to do that.
No.
It was a nice show of respect. But I still think Nobes will play a big part with us this season. I hope that, similar to Kevin Nolan, he'll always have a place at the club because he fully deserves it. But yeah, it's a travesty. I know it's a bit blinkered as a West Ham fan, but it's a travesty he never got to play for England.
Yeah.
In some sort of capacity, he deserved.
Exactly, but it's the same as Billy Bonds, wasn't it? Billy Bonds never played for England as well, and he's like, Mark Noble's our Billy Bonds, really, of the modern era, and it's just, Torres plays for West Ham.
England didn't deserve Billy Bonds.
No, well, I don't. I mean, almost Republic of Ireland deserved Mark Noble before he changed his mind, didn't they? So,
yeah. Well, yeah. It must be a regret somewhere, but I don't think Nobes would ever tell you it's ever bothered him. And more for them and good to us because we've been able to enjoy him relatively injury-free for quite a long time.
Yeah, exactly. No Dean Ashton with him, was it, or anything like that? But and as you said, having a fan in your team is something different, and it's special. It's unique to only a small amount of clubs. I can't really think, to be honest, but not many at all. And obviously, we talk about memories, and obviously the Chelsea game last year. It's like that's going to be my long-lasting memory of Mark Noble because I sat there. He wasn't in the team. He was sat watching it as a fan, and literally I could see him because he was sitting in the disabled area. I think David Martin was 2 meters away from him, and I was watching him, and he was watching the game like a fan. And when people go, "Oh, yeah, I'm a fan," but actually physically watching a game, and he was watching it like you or me would be watching it, kicking every ball. And when Yama scored that third goal, literally he almost punched a hole in the floor. It's literally like this. Is amazing, and beautiful man, beautiful club captain.
It'll have the admiration of all of us, I think, for a long time to come. And I think it'll be well versed and well written that he's been, since the great Billy Bonds, he's probably our best servant to this club, and he deserves to be around for a long time and to be decorated by the club as well, because
definitely
he's been a superb servant for us.
I totally agree. All right, we're putting Nobes in. We're going up front now, Jacko.
Yeah, the obvious one is Mr. Di Canio. You can't.
So I was going to say Smashy Abu. Sorry, okay.
Close.
Close.
Yeah, that would be a different 11 of mine. Smashy Abu and Alex Bunbury. It'd be a very different 11. That was a very different period. That was. Paolo. I mean, he was a magician. Second only to the brief spell that Mr. Pyatt entered into. Should never have been at West Ham if he hadn't have pushed over Paul Alcock back in the day.
That's always my thing.
No way he'd have ever been at our club. It was a shrewd move by Harry as well. To bring him on board. And again, it's one of them, a perfect fit. Would he have? He'd have gone elsewhere and got in trouble over something. He come to us, and we loved his stroppy days, his down days, his good days. The fact that he wouldn't travel to Walsall on a Tuesday night or Scunthorpe on a Wednesday night. We all knew what was going on. He had these random nights off because he wouldn't travel anywhere where it was -2 up north. But I mean, as a footballer on the ball, you just didn't know. You always felt that when he was in the team, even when we was up against it, something could happen. You could beat one of the big boys because you had Paolo in the team. Don't get me wrong, that team at the time was quite talented that he was in. Obviously, some very good young players that went on to do very well. Some of which I can't say because it sticks in my throat. But some very talented players in and around him. I mean, he was literally a magician. Make things happen, create things, score goals from nothing. And another player that kind of on his day would carry us over the line, despite his temperament that could go one way or the other.
That's part of him, weren't it? That's part of him. He was like an entertainer. He was like, nowadays I find professional football so sterile. Do you know what I mean? So, obviously Jack Grealish is a diving little bugger, but he's a cocky little shit, and he's a good player, and he's like, maybe he's diving and stuff, but he's got a bit about him. You know what I mean? No one seems to like. I don't see some people just so have a personality on the pitch. Do you know what I remember? John Moncurs and Bishop and Martin Allen and people like that who just like there'd be characters on the pitch and then there'd be characters off the pitch, and I think maybe social media and whatnot, I don't know, but
hashtag, but I think a lot of it's been reined in now. By clubs, you can't be seen to be doing a lot of things. Totally different generations as well. I mean,
true.
One of my good mates was at West Ham as a youngster through many years, and I've heard many a story about what used to go on in that era. And John Moncur was.
We've had them all on here. We've had John. We've had Razor. They've told us everything. We know it all.
The Razor one. There was a lot of big characters and a completely different generation, and what they used to get up to, you never even entertain now. They're paid too much money nowadays. They're don't get me wrong, the boys back in the day were pros, but these are ultimately professional athletes now, and that's it. That's the key word. They were in a generation where they didn't need to be so much. But now they're assets, these players now, and they've got to be well versed, well trained, and well looked after. So you won't get any of that shenanigans from the John Moncurs and the Martin Allens of the world. Those days are gone.
God bless them. I miss those days. I do miss them days. You know what I mean?
Good generation and a golden era, but you won't ever get that back.
I miss him. Even Trev, even Sinks. I mean, he had some stories. We interviewed him, and
I struggled to leave Trevor Sinclair out because I remember him getting into the England squad and fully deserved, and being quality for England as well. Really good for England. I struggled to leave him out of the team. There's another midfielder. I think we've been inundated with midfielders. When I actually started writing down the names I was coming,
don't realise, do you? Yeah,
loads. Like Fat Frank, who I despise now, but so many great midfielders we've had. We've been very lucky in that respect. Just a shame we could never string a season together.
We never kept them all together. The trouble, isn't it? Oh dear. Right. So we've got Di Canio. Who's going to be the last piece of this Jacko pie?
This was a tough one. There was two that stuck with me, and as I say, these both quite similar, and both brought a lot to the club when I step back and look at it. Both drive me mad on the terraces numerous times, but to top up between Bobby Zamora and Marlon Harewood. In the end, I went for Marlon. Again, I don't think I gave him the credit he deserved when he was actually playing for us.
No,
he come up with so many important goals for us, and I've had the pleasure of, obviously Marlon does a lot of work with the club still now. I've had the pleasure of playing in a few games with him, and he loves West Ham. It's a good move for him, a good fit for us as a club when he came in. As I say, it's very similar to Bobby. It's a toss-up between the two. Both seem to want to play for West Ham and want to be at West Ham. So it's a toss-up between the two. There was obviously a few I could have gone for. The Dean Ashton was another one who I think could have probably changed our path as a club if he hadn't got injured. I think when he came in, he was quality. John Hartson is another. But I just think Marlon kind of epitomises West Ham, really. As I say, it was a good fit and chipped in with loads of goals, great temperament. I just always felt like something would happen with him.
Especially in that right-hand corner, like as you said, that South Bank, the Bobby Moore lower, that little right-hand corner, as if when they're attacking. That was literally because obviously I was there. That was my box, so I was, and that was like Harewood corner. I called it because he'd always bring the ball into the corner, do a little trick, and then end up running across the byline every game, at least once or twice.
Again, underrated. I don't think I ever gave him the credit he deserves, and it's only looking back. I see it. Marlon's always posting goals on his Instagram day in, day out, and it's only looking back now. I kind of go, do you know what? Done a good job for us, good servant club, and a good hammer. A good hammer.
Definitely. He's a good man. When he's not selling cars, of course.
Yeah.
He's all over the place, isn't it?
AC Premier, isn't it? AC Premier.
AC13. But no, he seems to be all over the fucking place. He's like, every other training ground he's at, bless him. But He's busy boy. Good luck to him. Why not? While it can keep doing what he's last. Anyway, Jacko, man, it's been lovely chatting to you. I've loved it.
Killed it. Me hour.
I told you, honestly, literally, you just like you don't even realise it's like an hour's gone. But it's because you're talking about West Ham, man, and it's just it gets the juices flowing, doesn't it? But it's been lovely, mate, and
pleasure.
good luck at the weekend if you get on, if you play.
Yeah, mate, and I'll see you at the London Stadium.
Yes, we'll be there. Hopefully soon. Are you in the ballot? You probably wouldn't be in the ballot.
No. It wasn't worth my while, so I've paid the retainer to keep the seat.
Gotcha.
We got some good seats there. It took us a few years. We was up in the gods when it first started.
Around, yeah.
So we're right next to the away fans. I've got a lovely seat over the corner.
Oh, lovely. Oh, yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Block 217. Keep an eye out for me.
217. That's it.
It's a great little spot. As I say, me and my old man, my sister, and my boys, the four of us.
Lovely.
So yeah, and listen, as much as I don't get there as often as I would when I go, now I'm really missing it.
I think everyone is. I think it's actually,
season where you could stick it. I do want to know, but I'm desperate to get back there now, so I'm looking forward to it. But for me, it has to be full. Going when there's 2,000.
It's going to be weird, but it's a start in it, and it's like, it's great for obviously non-league. The fact that they can have 50% or 2,000 or 40. So perfect. But it's a start, man. It's a start, and as I said, it's one of those things where I think, that I know everyone's sort of like, their views on the stadium, but it's horrible what's happened, but everyone's dying to get back. And so so people might, think what's obviously people have lost lives and had lost jobs and lost money, and it's been horrible over the last 10 months or so. But I think everyone will be grateful to get back when everyone gets back to London Stadium. It'll be very emotional. I think that first bubbles.
It will. It'll be nice. It'll be nice. It'll be good for everyone. It'll feel like we've kind of got over one of the final hurdles of getting back to normality. Although it'd be weird because we'll be top of the league by then, so that'd be
we'll be Champions League by then, so it don't matter. It'd be very weird. And then we'll probably lose to some third tier Macedonian team in the qualifiers. It's the West Ham way. But anyway, Jacko, it's been lovely. Thank you so much. And obviously, thank you to everyone for watching or listening on podcasts or whatever, YouTube, whatever. Give it a like, give it a share. And for me and Jacko, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Come on, you irons. And we'll see you again very, very soon. Come on, you irons. Take care, everyone.